Okay, you can hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. All right, so just going to get right into it. I apologize for the delay, and this sounds like a really exciting topic also.
Yes. It definitely is meant to ruffle some feathers. It is meant to show females where a lot of their bitterness comes from, per se, and to invoke a deeper healing as to not to keep transferring that type of behavior generationally.
Okay, that sounds like a wonderful point. So I'll just introduce, welcome everyone. It's Transformation Thursday, week 169.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you,
Oh,
Abina.
you can't hear me? Oh, okay. How's this?
A little better.
Okay. And evening's topic is uncovering mother wounds with Miss Seychelles Doyley. Okay, hi. You can just introduce yourself and dive right into it.
Okay. My name is Seychelles, aka Reiki S. I am a Reiki master teacher and practitioner, a holistic practitioner, a studying yogi on my way to certification, amongst a light for a lot of people. Tonight, I thank Abena for inviting me on to talk about a class that I have coming up starting March 9th, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check the date. I want to say it's March 9th. The classes will be on Saturday mornings. And the reason why I picked Saturday mornings for this class is because this class is meant to uncover a lot. It is meant to, yes, the class starts Saturday. Wait a minute. I literally put up two class schedules. I put up a morning session and I put up an evening session. So you have your morning session at 10 a.m. and another session at 8 p.m. In the event if one class size gets full, I'm only accepting 15 people per class so that it can be small, intimate, and I can show each participant the correct attention that they need in order to get through this exercise. How uncovering mother wounds came about is one, my relationship with my own mother, especially coming from a Caribbean background. Two, I was working on last year an inner child healing course. And in the midst of making that inner child healing course, I literally thought about incorporating that as well as some other classes that I was working on and giving a well-rounded class. And I felt like what better way to utilize the classes that I've kind of put together that I thought about selling separately, which I still may later on down the line. But what better way to utilize these classes and a person can greatly benefit from it? Again, looking at my own relationship with my mother, looking at relationship with other women in different communities that I belong to, I realized that this is a class that is not only needed but should be required. The reason being, a lot of us come from industrial age parents who reared us for a world that no longer exists, and 50% of those homes had mothers who were not nurturing. They were just caretakers per se. You have some parents who equates material items in place of love when that doesn't really work for children, and it starts to show as they get older. Let's look at our everyday lives right now. We have women we work with day in and day out. Me personally, I rather work with men because the emotions are not as high and you don't have to worry about a bunch of sensitivities or how a person may feel like you're offending them because of just how you are. A big part of relationships comes from how you're nurtured growing up. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. But a lot of the relationships and how we form relationships actually comes from one, how our sacral and solar plexus, I'm going to say how our lower meridian chakras were formed, which is normally the first 18 to roughly 21 years of life, which is your root, which is your foundation, your sacral, which is your creativity, and your solar plexus, which is your confidence, right? When we look at how mothers, especially coming out of the industrial age, when you look at those three particular chakras and you ask yourself, did mommy and daddy did mommy and daddy provide a safe foundation for me? Did I feel safe growing up? Was my creativity stifled or was it explored? Was I able to be free? When it comes to confidence, how was I spoken to? Was I spoken to softly or was I spoken to aggressively? As adults, you see how this plays out when it comes to not only speaking to an individual, dealing with an individual, looking how an individual is creative, and looking how they live their life. Do they seem like they're stable and their foundation is secure, or are they all over the place and from pillar to post? All of that plays a part in our upbringing. And as we know, nurturing is about 50% of upbringing. How you're nurtured, when you're nurtured, and who nurtures you. As we know, aunts are second mothers. So sometimes you have females who had the ability to be reared by an aunt when the mother was absent or the mother just couldn't show up fully, because that's what aunts are. They're second mothers, right? Now, not everyone is lucky to have those individuals in their lives. Say, for instance, you had a messed up mom, you might have a messed up aunt, so you're nurturing, you probably didn't get nurtured, and it shows again in your relationships as you get older. So again, a big part of this class is diving into shadow work, um inner child healing, accessing our Akashic records, and of course what I do best, Reiki. Abin, are you there? Hello, 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 hello.
Yes, I'm sorry, me and the mute button. Yes, I just wanted to let you know that some people are watching. Some people have joined on Instagram, so obviously this is a really relevant topic for them.
Mhm. Listen, I invite anyone who has struggled with relationships with their mom, who have struggled with relationships with their own children. You definitely need to be a part of this class. This class is not only going to be a freeing experience, it's going to teach you a lot more about your parenting style. And if you are, in fact, projecting on to your children unknowingly. Because again, let's look at the timeline. We have industrial age parents who then in turn birthed starseed children. Starseed children then in turn birthed indigo and crystalline children. Now, the industrial age parents range from anywhere from the 1930s to the 1960s. Any parent that was born during that time is quote unquote considered a baby boomer. They come from the industrial age. All they know is toil and labor. Wife sits home, rears the kids, take care of home. Daddy goes out, brings the bacon, and mommy has his beer or newspaper when he comes home. A lot of starseed children grew up in that environment. Now, the problem with that is when starseed children were born, which were from the 70s till about the early 90s, if I'm not mistaken, it's either the late 80s or the early 90s. That group of children, you had two dynamics. You either had one set that literally took after their mom or their meemaw, grandmom, however they, whatever term of endearment you may have used. And then you have another set that said, yeah, I really don't like the way mommy did this. I'm going to change this. I was her. There was a lot of things, especially, and I'm going to talk specifically to my Caribbean kids. If any Caribbeans is on the airwaves right now or watching this video, you can attest to our voices were silenced as children. In a Caribbean household, you are literally taught, speak when spoken to. We don't have freedom of expression. We can't express ourselves the same way as, quote unquote, some Black American kids have the relationship with their parents. In a Caribbean household, that was talking back or even questioning something that a parent did was almost certain to get your head knocked off and have you on punishment until God knows when. It's more of a structure, but it does not negate the fact that the way a lot of Caribbean parents reared their children, yes, they might have gotten nurtured, but they also killed their confidence in that nurturing, if it makes sense. And it's something that needs to be addressed, because when you look at the suicide rate, especially amongst Caribbean children, they're the most highest achieving, but they're the first to take their lives. The pressure. No child should have to grow up with the pressure that a lot of us had to grow up with. And I say it all the time. These Crystalline and Rainbow children, they wouldn't be able to withstand a third of what the Starseed children went through. They would buckle. They would fall. Like, honestly, a lot of them lack common sense because they're depending on a machine to think for them now. And again, let's take it back to the parents. Instead of dropping your kid off to this house and that house, a lot of a lot of parents look to electronics to raise their kids. Oh, it's keeping him or her quiet. Oh, it's keeping him and her quiet. Oh, it's occupying their time and they're staying out of my hair. No, that is not how rearing works. And again, coming from a workaholic mother, my mother worked 16 hours, sometimes 7 days a week. I would literally see my mother when I was getting ready to leave for school in the morning, and I wouldn't see her again until leaving for school again in the morning. But in my mom's eyes, her providing a roof over my head, 3 hot meals a day, not having the lights or the water or anything cut off was love. And I'm even in my old ripe age of 44 today, I have to explain to my mom, yes, you did give us a good life. Yes, you did provide us with all these material things, but no, that was not enough. My mother's not affectionate. This is why it was important, especially when I got with my husband, I needed someone that was going to pamper my big behind. Like, I want to be pampered. And because it's something I didn't get from my mother. Now, an aunt, I got that from one of my aunts. She was the most nurturing, loving person. But again, I didn't live with her. I saw her holidays and summers. So just understanding different patterns and how we literally carry that through, and how not only how we carry that on to the next generation, but how do we identify when we're self-sabotaging relationships? Where does that self-sabotage behavior come from? And you have to look back to the person that carried you in their belly for 9 months, the one person you connected to through their sacral chakra. Now, let's take it a step further. You have a lot of parents who really didn't want to be parents. And while carrying that child, they carried those emotions. Now, here it is. You have a child that's born innocently in the world and doesn't understand why mommy doesn't love them, because they don't understand that mommy was harboring these feelings prior to even delivering you. But mommy couldn't get rid of you for whatever reason, but it does not negate the fact that those feelings didn't transfer to you. So you already come into the world feeling unloved. You already come into the world feeling unfulfilled. And as you get older and you start noticing different things when it comes to your personality, like people pleasing methods, feelings of abandonment, things of that nature, all of that stems from what happened in your mother's womb. So the dope part about uncovering mother-daughter wounds, we actually end the 4th week off with an in-depth healing session. It's a holy fire session that actually deals with any type of trauma while your mother conceived you, while your mother was carrying you, whatever problems her and your father were going through. All of that will be, quote unquote, by law, I can't say healed, but all of that was facilitate a deeper healing through the holy fire at the end of the course, to not only make you feel whole, complete, but hopefully answer a lot of questions that you may have had when it comes to parenting and your parenting styles.
No, there's quite a lot of hearts and checks and viewers.
All right, listen, guys, this year, this is my 2 themes that I want to work on. I want to work on, for the collective, Feminines getting back into their soft era and actually being feminine and showing love to men, because we've been in our masculine era for so long. Men have now tapped too much into their feminine era, but yet still don't want, or still not heard by their feminine counterpart. My goal this year is to bridge that gap. That is a gap that seriously needs to be bridged. And what that will ultimately do is bring back family life, bring back two-parent households, or better yet, show households that, okay, if mommy and daddy is not getting along, it doesn't mean they have to stay together. My mother always taught me it's better to come from a broken home rather than to live in a broken home. And you don't recognize the damage that's done when you live in a broken home as opposed to coming from a broken home. So this year, my goal, like I said, collectively for the community, is an overall healing for both the masculine and the feminine, looking at the polarities and helping you to learn how to balance both.
Yeah, we're waiting for more.
Oh, that's it. That's all I got. Any questions so far? I feel like I'm rambling.
No, 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 not at all. It was funny just watching all the different hearts coming as you were talking about like a basket.
Okay. But yes, guys, I would definitely love for any female that feels like she wants to heal her mother-daughter wound, who feels like she wants to become a better mother for her current daughter, to definitely join this class. Again, it starts March 9th, and it's going to run for 4 weeks concurrently every Saturday, 10 a.m. Each class will be about 2 hours. That'll give us enough time to not only dive into the day's work, and FYI, if you've ever worked with me, I like to give homework. I like to know that you're retaining the information that I'm putting out there. I need to know that you're picking up what I'm putting down. And the only way to do that is to put you into a position where you have to do the work. Because granted, you may pay for this class, you may get in it, and then you start hearing what needs to be done. You might be like, and it's not a moment. It's in that uncomfortability. I tell everyone, in that uncomfortability and in that darkness, do you heal? So if you're ready to go through the darkness, we ride at dawn.
So they're only virtual or are they in person as well?
This particular class, since it's the first, it will be virtual. So this means anyone from any part of the world can join in. Again, it's going to be 2 time slots because each class is only going to hold 15 females. And it is a 10 a.m. slot and an 8 p.m. slot. So it'll be 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's for the people who aren't able to make it in the morning, but have more freedom and a little bit more time to do at night.
So can I ask you, how do the wounds manifest in your life as an adult?
I'm sorry.
How do those wounds manifest in your
Why are
life
you
as an
whispering,
adult?
Abena?
How do they manifest in your life as an adult?
How does what manifest in your
The mother wounds, the mother wounds.
So mother wounds. Someone that's dealing with mother wounds, you'll notice they're people pleasing. Some may suffer from abandonment issues. When you see people who's constantly saying yes, 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 when they really want to say no. When you have females that just have this innate anger and you just can't fully place it, that is indicative of inner child healing that's needed. And most times when you look at the inner child healing that's needed, it's normally from the lower meridian chakras, which is your root, sacral, and solar plexus. And again, that is the first 18 years of your life. So when you see someone who constantly has a closed or blocked root, a closed or blocked or underactive sacral and solar plexus, 9 times out of 10, that is an inner child asking for healing or asking to be heard. There's a lot of people who have not done a lick of inner child healing. And believe it or not, everyone needs to do a little inner child healing. It's not just, I don't care how great of a life you came from. We all have experienced some type of trauma or some type of emotion that we did not understand as a child and maybe still don't understand as an adult. when you see a female who's constantly getting into the wrong relationships, constantly picking quote unquote the wrong man slash woman. When you look at the type of individuals that they're picking to be in romantic relationships with, or even platonic relationships, you always notice it's like a self-serving type relationship, to where the other person is benefiting while the person that's giving the energy is always depleted. When you look at how, if especially if you're a mother that has mother-daughter wounds, and say for instance your mother died and you wasn't able to express how you felt while she was alive, that actually translate onto the child, whether male or female. It can be a little boy or a little girl, but how you deal with that child, and how you, sometimes there's a projection there that parents don't even realize that they're projecting onto their child. It's because their inner child is screaming out for something, but yet rather than you dealing with it, you're taking that out on the kid in your face, and that's not fair. So it's, again, looking at the type of relationships you've cultivated over the years, looking at how you have honestly picked friendships. What happened? You're on mute.
No, someone just commented
Uh-huh.
they don't have any questions, but I want to say I love you. Your spirit got mine jumping all over the place.
Oh,
And
thank
this sister
you.
is all the way in Chicago.
Yes, to Chi-Town. Listen, guys, this is something that is definitely needed. I'm tired of working with angry ass Brenda. Uh,
I'm so sorry. We have a question on Instagram. What
sure.
if the mother is alive but is not receiving to this healing with her daughter? It's a good question.
Yes, and that is something else we're going to talk about within the course. But to give you a brief synopsis on that, sometimes you got to learn to say, to hell with you, mom. I'm grown now. You don't want this relationship with me. That's fine. I'm going to be a better mother for my child if I have children, or I'm going to be a better mother when I do become a mother. Sometimes, let me tell you something, mother-daughter jealousy is very real. You have a lot of mothers who sacrifice in the name of parenthood, and they make their child feel guilty because their child excelled where they did not. And rather than finding the gratitude and the appreciation in that, you have some mothers that will be dead in competition, and you'll be like, well, wait a minute. I'm the kid. Why the hell are you competing with me? I'm a reflection of you. So why is it I can't go on and forge the path that you didn't? Why can't you be proud in that? And that part is gonna, I'm gonna be honest, the class may or not, because that is one of the areas when I was going over the coursework, I'm like, listen, this may go into 2 classes, because the mother-daughter competition is very real. And then in light of social media, you have mothers and daughters competing to look the same, to act the same, and all types of things. There's no reason my 50, 60-year-old mom should be dressing like my 20-year-old self. That make sense. The biggest part is, and I'm going to go now to the star seed children that birthed the indigo and crystalline children. The star seed children are not off the hook. And the reason why I say that, remember I said there was 2 dynamics. There was either one set that carried on the generational hurt, or there's one set that said, okay, I don't like this. I don't want to be bothered. I want to change this. The star seed children, now what we did in turn, and I'm a part of it. And the reason why I say that, a lot of starseed children had their children young. You had a lot of children, you had a lot of young ladies such as myself who had their first child in between 16 to 20 years of age. That group of women, I'm going to say, and I'm going to be fair, I don't know for fact the statistic, but I'm just going to go off of what I've seen. I'm going to say 50% of that generation became their child's friend and not their parent. And the other 25%, when it came to sons, they started turning their sons into proverbial husbands. So there was a lot of pressure put on children in the rainbow and crystalline era, because the starseed children, we just did not get it right. We did not instill the same family values. Again, we wanted to be friends and not parents. And on top of that, instead of us dealing with our own, we started confiding into our children, which is a big no-no. When your child is older, in their 20s and their 30s, yes, but there's no reason a 10, 15, 16-year-old should know what's going on in a household between 2 adults. No way, shape, or form. Now, one of the big things that I speak about in the class as well is we learned how to deal with pain and suffer in silence. That is something we need to stop doing, because what that in turn did, especially for the Starseed children, we carried on that same thing. We watched our parents suffer in silence. We watched our parents hurt in silence. We watched our parents go through silent battles in silence, but yet we carried that on. Now, when you look at the rainbow, the crystalline children, especially the rainbow bunch, pay attention to all of the children that were born in that late 90, early 2000 era. There's a lot of children that are not on this earth today. Either they got killed, committed suicide, or was, behest at the hands of violence. But the problem is, a lot of those children didn't know how to express themselves, because guess what? They watch you, mommy, you, daddy, again, suffer in silence. Instead of having human emotions, we kind of desensitized our kids by hiding everything. I'm not saying, again, to bring your children into adult conversations, but it is important to show human emotion. And part of that comes with the world being so desensitized. Outside of the news and all of the bad things happening in the world, what goes on in our households and how we were taught to just even express emotions has us desensitized. So again, it's about putting emotion back into family values. It's about just being human again, which a lot of us, we have unfortunately succumbed to the matrix and just kind of followed without even realizing it. I hope that answered your question.
So I know, what, okay, why does this keep saying I'm muted? Uh, so I know this is for women. What about men?
Can't
What
hear.
about men?
I'm hearing.
What about men who are dealing with abandonment, feelings of abandonment and mother issues?
So that needs to actually be a separate class. That is something I contemplated if I wanted men and women in the same room. I personally am going to do it in 2 sessions. There is a lot of men that needs healing. There is a lot of men that have gone through some things at the hands of their mom. There are a lot of men that are hurting. So for the men, again, 2024, my theme is to talk to my kings, is to show my queens how to properly deal with their king counterpart. And again, I started with females because, again, the queen can make moves, the king can't. Behind every strong man, there is a woman. So let me start with the person that can help facilitate that healing. Because most times, how healing works, and contrary to popular belief, people think that, oh, I have a healing ability. It is my job to heal you. No, it is my job to provide you with the tools to facilitate that healing yourself. I give you the tricks and the tips, and you do the work. I'm just the conduit for it. So when it comes to the men, I honestly believe if men start looking at women taking this step, it's going to start a domino effect to where they're going to want to heal, and they're going to want to know how to go about it, and they're going to want to address their mother-son wounds.
Thank you for that. I always have trouble finding the mute button. Thank you for that. Okay, so what if your mother has already transitioned? How would one address that?
So for mothers that have already transitioned, and especially those who felt like they weren't able to express themselves to their mothers prior to them transitioning, we're going to actually do a fire ceremony. We're going to be able to, during the classwork, we're going to go into a deep meditation. We're going to come out of it and utilize the power of the pen, automatic writing. You're going to get out in that meditation. Once you come out of that meditation and you go into automatic writing, a lot of people don't realize once you start writing and expressing yourself, again, it becomes automatic. You start pouring out more than you actually, excuse me, thought I had to sneeze. I'm sorry. You start pouring out more than you anticipated, and you don't realize how much you let go. So in that quote unquote purge session, we're going to get it all out on paper, and then we're going to use the power of the element of fire to burn away any resistance that came with that. And you're going to imagine that fire cleansing you in the end. So that way, not only does that message go up to the ethers, to wherever the departed soul is. But, or, no, and, not or, and it's going to also help you to purify your heart space, to open it up for more love to pour in, and hopefully get to a place of forgiveness eventually. Because again, forgiveness is not overnight. A lot of people may say, okay, I did this work, I forgive. You be lying to yourself. I tell everyone, by all means, lie to me, don't lie to yourself. Forgiveness is not an overnight thing, and forgiveness is more so for you than the other person. But only that particular person knows wholeheartedly when they're ready to forgive. But you know me, I'm gonna call you on your shit. So I don't want to set false expectations. So again, when it comes to forgiveness, that person will definitely feel within their heart center chakra when they're ready to forgive. And it's not something someone can put a timeline on. Me, myself, I'm struggling with forgiving the person that had the hands at my brother's death, but I'm realizing a year later, it's gotten a lot easier. Have I still forgave them? Hell no. I'm not in the mood to forgive just yet, but I am working towards that part. And as long as you're working towards forgiveness and learning the art of forgiveness, that's all you can do. Sometimes we have to look at what we're able to control, and we're not able to control forgiveness. Again, they say forgive, forgive, forgive. I hate when people push narratives without setting realistic expectations. You may be pushing a person to forgive who hasn't fully healed. So how can they forgive?
You said something earlier about angry Brenda, or angry Barbara. Oh, hi, Nina. Hi, hi, Miss Nina. There's a viewer here. I'm just saying hi to her. You mentioned angry Barbara or angry Brenda. So are
Mhm.
you saying that anger is also part of anger is also part of the mother wound?
It can be, but it's not 100% set in stone. Most times when you see women that are angry, there's a plethora of things that can be going on. The woman may not be having sex, and that makes them miserable. And people don't realize, if you're not celibate and you're a highly sexual person, or you're a person that holds healing abilities, your sex drive is going to always be high. But part of sex is more than just the act itself. And as a woman, that is something that we weren't taught. You have to learn when your body needs to release, and when you're holding an immense amount of energy, especially in a chakra. The number one thing that will be taught in this course is transmutation, the art of taking a feeling and transmuting it into something positive, which a lot of people don't. Angry Deborah, angry Barbara, you can tell by how they come to work. The reason why I use that analogy is because we've all worked with someone who comes in and they're just a regular employee like you, but they feel like they run the place. That need for control tells me there's lack of control in the household. So my question is it current day, or was it back in the day? Was it your upbringing, or is it your current lifestyle? And all of that again goes back to the lower meridian chakras, how your life was formed for the first, and I'm just going to put a number on it, 21, the first 21 years, because literally the first 21 years you're under the roof of the house. Anytime between 16 and 21, some kids move out. Some kids just can't take it and they decide, okay, I'm going to do this on my own. Then you have some kids that stay beyond 21. And again, it all depends on how that foundation was laid. How did they grow up, especially the first 5 years of their life, because that determines the rest, if that makes sense.
So people showing how they don't have control in their home.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting with that one. That's interesting. I never thought about that. So they're manifesting, they're interacting with other people, what's really happening inside.
You can always tell when somebody's not happy at home. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. The last position that I held was a young lady, overachiever, very judgmental, very snobbish, but she over what's the word I'm looking for? She overstated her position a lot. One, she always had to show me she had the power. That only happens when the dynamic in the household is not balanced. When you have to come to work and exercise your power, even when it's not, there's no needs for it to be exercised, that tells me there's an imbalance in the household, especially if you're married. If there's any married women on this chat right now, you can attest to it's always a balance in a household. Mommy has power some of the time, daddy has power some of the time. You bring those two together, it's a balanced household. Yes, do we have arguments? Yes, do we disagree? Of course. But neither one of us, we work it out within ourselves, within our dynamic. We're not taking that outside and taking it to work and taking it out on the person that just did something that reminded you of your mate. And um there's again, there's so many different ways. When you look at, what's another example I can use? Again, and I hate to keep going back to sex. Sex is a very big it's a very big part of a dynamic in a household. When a female is not getting her back blown out properly, she brings that energy to work, and then she's just miserable around everybody, and you hear the snickers around the water cooler. Her man must not be treating her right, or her man must be cheating on her. Her man, her man, her man. It's always equated back to the man, right? Not realizing it may not just be the man. The man may be going through hell just like you over here at the water cooler. No one can figure out where this growing rage or this growing anger is coming from. And 9 times out of 10, if you do a bioscan on that person or use a dowsing method within quote unquote a Reiki session, you'll notice their whole lower meridian is shut down. Their whole lower meridian is shut down because it's probably been shut down for the last 10 to 15 years. And for the last 10 to 15 years, Brenda or Deborah has been miserable. Brenda and Deborah don't realize why they're miserable. If Brenda and Deborah would have looked into their childhood and how their mother nurtured them, again, you can have the most nurturing mother in the world. In my experience, I've realized parents that overcompensated in the nurturing department produce children who don't like affection. And those who did not get a lot of nurturing are the most affectionate. I could be wrong, but in my take of looking at different relationships and different people and knowing their backgrounds, it always seems like, and I'm gonna give you a perfect example. I'm gonna use myself as an example. My husband's mom was overly affectionate. She showered her sons with hugs and kisses and talking to them as they're grown, like they're babies. And when you look at all four of them, all four have the same problem within relationships. They don't know how to express themselves, or they're not affectionate enough for their mate. That's something my husband and we worked on collectively. And I had to let him realize, like, listen, my mom wasn't affectionate. I didn't get hugged and kissed all the time. I didn't get pulled in and just a hug for no reason. So it's, I feel bad that sometimes I rely on you for that, but that's what I require at this age. It's about knowing what you require and who are you looking to give you that requirement. So you see how this all intricately just plays into one another, how one begets the next, begets the next.
No, I never thought about that relationship, about how that connects.
It's
You know,
deep.
basically the dynamic at home is expressed out into the world. Okay, okay.
You're on mute again. You just cannot get your
Yeah,
sound.
I cannot. I cannot. And I was saying, that was a really deep point. I never thought about, the dynamics. So basically, whatever the frustration is, they're bringing it to the workplace.
There you go.
So that's what's angry Brenda or angry Barbara. Okay. Okay. So there was another comment that I had here. Okay, when you mentioned that so someone mentioned that if the parent is unwilling, What if, does that go, would you say that's for both parents or primarily like one parent that there's more of the friction?
So it depends. Eventually uncovering mother wounds is going to turn into understanding father wounds. Say for instance, you come from a two-parent household. Both parents just didn't get it right. Let's make one thing clear. Parenting did not come with a manual. No one was told you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. When you look at when you historically look at how historically when you look at the mother father dynamic in a household, you either have a female that's either going to have father wounds, mother wounds, or both. Now, when it comes to the mother wounds, especially those that are unwilling, I'm gonna say it the best way I can. You cannot teach an old dog new tricks. A lot of those industrial age baby boomer parents, once they have something set in their mind, you have to leave them with that. You have to be okay with putting a boundary in place to protect your feelings as an adult. Your parents are responsible for you up until the age of 18. The state says they have to give you three squares and 3 square meals, a roof over your head, and a warm bed to sleep in. Outside of that, after 18, the state does not deem your parents responsible for you anymore. And the reason why I use that analogy is because I feel like this. After 18, you can no longer blame mommy and daddy for your effed up ways. You can no longer blame mommy and daddy for what you're going through. You have to make a concerted effort as a young adult going into adulthood to say, okay, I don't like the way this makes me feel. I need to understand more. Why is my relationship like this and why does it affect me so? You have to be the beacon of hope in your life to say, I want to live and feel better when it comes to this type of relationship. So if you have a parent that is unwilling and unreceptive to your healing, again, it is not your job to fix your parent. It is not your job to force them to see what you're seeing. You facilitate healing in others by doing the work yourself. And sometimes it takes for a mother to look at her child, cut her off, and carry on with life and watch how you've carried on in life without them to sometimes invoke that healing within themselves. Does it always happen that way? Not necessarily, but it does not negate the fact that you are uncovering wounds that needs to be healed. You're snatching that band-aid off and you're letting that oxygen hit that wound so it can scab over and new skin can grow. Same thing with yourself when it comes to this dynamic. Sometimes you got to rip the band-aid off and say, you know what, this is my mom. I only get one, but I can't let her keep hurting me because she's hurting. So again, it's about putting a boundary in place and realizing at a certain age, mother or no mother, you love you first. Your mother did not birth you with the intention of saying, okay, you have to sacrifice for me because I sacrificed for you. That's not how this works. If mommy made a sacrifice, that is between mommy, herself, and God and her therapist at this point. You have to invoke healing for yourself so you don't carry that on. Did that answer your question or comment?
Um, that just kind of blew me away. Yeah, because I see a lot, someone talked about cutting people off, and I wanted to know what you thought about that.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Oh, cutting parents off.
Cutting parent, what? I'm not understanding the question.
Cutting parents off. They cut their parents off.
And believe it or not, that's healthy. Some parents can be so abusive. Imagine growing up in a verbally or mentally abusive household. Um, Growing up in those type of households, you have to make a decision. Are you going to save yourself or are you going to try to save your parent? Again, I'm all for cutting them off, mommy or not. I don't care if you gave birth to me. That does not give you the right to abuse me. And people just think of physical abuse. Abuse is more than just physical. You can mentally and verbally abuse the child again to where you break their confidence to where they grow up being a pushover. They grow up not being able to defend themselves because they've had a bully in the house all along. So if that parent can't see the error of their ways and it's healthier for you as an individual, by all means, cut that mother off, honey.
I know that seems so harsh.
Y-
That just seems very, very radical. And I just imagine the pushback from doing that.
What pushback? I mean, as long as you're an adult and you're able to stand on your own too, I'm not saying cut your mama off and you still dependent on her living in her house. You got to pick and choose your battles wisely. But again, sometimes there's drastic measures that needs to be taken. And again, your mother if your mother daughter relationship is not giving you what you need as an adult, and you recognize as a child that something was off, and you're trying to fix it as an adult, and um they're not receptive to what you're saying or how you're feeling, why would you continue? Just because they gave birth to you?
And then you mentioned earlier about Korean parents, what you were saying, and I want to say, like, I hear you, but when you're raised by parents from the South, there was a lot of that very, very same element about speaking back, and I can definitely relate to, feelings like you don't have a voice.
Mhm.
It's so interesting how as I grew up and I older and hearing so many other women definitely say that. Someone recently said we've been domesticated, and I was like, wow, that's really deep because we haven't been allowed to speak, and that happened in childhood.
So you got to remember, we live in a capitalistic world in America where the big boys have always ruled. Everything has been the boys' club. Women have fought so much, so hard to be heard. So imagine going out into the world every day fighting and having to come home to fight. Home is supposed to be your sanctuary, especially for children. Home is supposed to be the safe haven. Home is where you're supposed to learn how to deal with the outside world. But learning to deal with the outside world does not mean learning to deal with abuse once again. And at the behest of a lot of cultural, what's the word I'm looking for? Looking at a lot of cultural appropriations is the word, maybe, or upbringings, whether from Southern to Caribbean or what have you. Again, women have always been silenced. We have just now come into an era where women don't no longer want to be silenced, but there is a proper way to use your voice. It's not in a power hungry or demeaning way, which a lot of women, especially when you work with a bunch of women, there's always that one power hungry woman that wants to, again, push her power, push her iron fist, push her hand to show her control of power. You come from a household to where you're verbally abused. You're told you will never amount to nothing. You're told that what you're saying is stupid. You're just degraded at every which way level. How do you learn to defend yourself against that power hungry person at work if I'm already fighting a battle at home? So when we look at societal pressures and we look at why the suicide rates between 12 to 18-year-olds is so high, you have too much pressure on a child that, again, they can't take it. The Bible tells you with every generation, they become weaker but wiser. So they lack something. Every child born in each generation lacks something from the previous generation, but they're much wiser than the previous generation. So how do we balance those scales? Again, by learning the dynamic that it has to be a balance when it comes to parenting and child rearing. It needs to be a balance. Your child should not be silenced, but your child should also not be allowed to be disrespectful. Family values need to be instilled, and we need to stop being our child's friend. We need to learn how to set healthy boundaries as a parent so children can learn how to set healthy boundaries as children. Pay attention to a child, especially, go ahead.
Boundaries. That's a beautiful word.
It's something that no longer exists. We live in such a world right now where everybody is really sensitive, and it's starting to work my last nerve. And I say that because You can't even say tree anymore. You didn't say tree right. You've offended some group or you've offended some person. Without a voice, how do we express ourselves? 90% of the time, our voice comes from our mother. But if our mother's voice,
You're saying 90% of our voice as women comes from our mothers,
comes from our mother.
does that apply for men also?
That
90%,
applies for both men and women.
90% of the voice comes from mom.
Let's look at a father's role in a household. And I'm going to speak to two-parent households and single-parent households. 90% of the time, the wife rules the home, right? She makes all the major decisions. Dad just goes out and just is just the worker bee, and he comes home and he expects the wife to maintain the finances, to maintain the house, to make sure the kids are fed, to make sure the kids have clothes, things of that nature. I'm going to even take it back to the Cosby Show. I'm trying to remember. This was an episode where Claire had to go away and she left Cliff in charge. She didn't tell the kids. Okay. You there?
Oh, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
Here.
She didn't tell the kids, she didn't tell the kids that she was leaving. I think it was like an impromptu trip. Malcolm comes home, Theo comes home, he needs to talk to mom. Vanessa comes home, she needs to talk to mom. Rudy comes home, she needs to talk to mom. Dad got mad. Why? I'm here. Why do y'all need mom? Mom is away. I'm here. Let dad help. Dad goes to help. Dad gives all the wrong advice, and still they want mom. Mom is always that voice of reason. Mom is that one that is going to be the rational person when it comes to a father relationship with their child. Dad, not most times, men are non-emotional. Men think with logic and reason. They don't think from a place of emotion, as to where women think emotionally and rarely from logic and reason. Where again that balance comes in at, and why I say mom is 90% of your voice, your mom teaches you how to stick up for yourself unknowingly. Again, if you have a verbally, mentally, or physically abusive mother, eventually you get tired, you're going to stand up to that mother. Same thing with the father. You get tired of that abuse, you're going to stand up to that parent. But most times, even though roles have changed in the last 20 years, before it used to be mom in the household. Mom was the one holding it down. Now that dynamic has really changed. It's really dad in the household, dad holding it down, and mom is out here living her best life. Moms have turned into the deadbeats, unfortunately, and dads have stepped up to the plate. So let me run that back. Historically, in the past, moms were the voice. Now you have a combination of mom and dad being the voice. But the key point is here, your parents teach you how to have a voice. But if that parent doesn't know how to utilize their voice, how can they teach you to utilize yours?
You know, my little one definitely knows boundaries, and my friends joke joke about that when he says, "I don't want it," and it's funny. They say, "Oh, I'm channeling your son when someone's asking me to do something I want to do. I think about your child," and he says, "I don't want it." So I like the fact that his boundaries are very very intact. Wow. Wow. Hmm. Okay, you see, there was a comment here. Okay, yes, someone was agreeing with you. Um, just kind of trying to scroll back here for a second. Um, Someone said they were sharing some of the same things that you're talking about with a male friend, and he got very emotional thinking about his own mother and relationship with his mom.
Mhm. So, and this is why I said for the fellas, I'm definitely going to do a separate class. You have a lot of females, especially those that were raising young kings in single family households. The problem with that is, with a lot of females that took this route, they started looking at their sons as surrogate husbands. They started wanting their sons to replace the man in the house. And if you look at a lot of social media, you'll see a 2, 3, 4-year-old in Jordans, baggy jeans, designer, big chain. And the caption is, look at my king. Look at the man of the house. He's 3. What the hell is he manning in the house? But again, you have mothers that, again, go through relationship after relationship because they don't know how to cultivate relationships. You have to look at the dynamics when it comes to a young lady and how her and her father's relationship was. Now, she in turn started messing with the neighborhood dealer up the block. Everything was all good until she got pregnant, then poof, he disappeared. Now she's forced to raise Junior on her own. And instead of her raising Junior as a mother son, she started relying on Junior at a young age to be the man of the house. Why would you put that stress or that responsibility on such a young child? And then as that child, especially with the men, as they get older, you have an 11-year-old having to run a household, trying to figure out how he's going to go to school, help mommy out because, quote unquote, he's the man of the house. You got to stop putting these responsibilities on these kids. People have to let children be children, and that doesn't happen as much as it used to. There's not a lot of children, especially in inner city communities, that are able to enjoy their childhood. There's some form of what's the word I'm looking for? There's some form of disconnect there because you want this child, instead of you being this child's parent, you want this child to be a parent with you. They didn't ask to come here to do that. Hell, they didn't even ask to come, but yet you didn't put them into an already ready-made role. And then here it is now, you got little June. He doesn't understand why he keeps picking the horrible women that he keeps picking. And 90% of the time, they always say a female's going to go after a man that reminds her of her father, and the same for a male. He's going to go after a woman that reminds him of his mother. Let's look at that. When you start getting into these different relationships, we see our parents as parents. We don't see them as individual humans. We don't see what Miss Sharon had to go through with our dad. We don't see what Miss Becky had to go through with our dad. We don't see what Mr. Ron had to go through with our mom. We're just seeing that, okay, this is the type of personality that mommy and daddy dealt with. Hey, maybe this is the type of personality I'm supposed to be with. Again, children live what they learn. So if you're introducing your child to something, rest assured there's an imprint in their brain somewhere. And when they start to develop certain relationships, Mr. Ron, Miss Debbie, Miss Sharon is going to come out at some point in there. Because what they're not seeing the parent dynamic, they're seeing the individual their parent dealt with. And then in turn, they start dealing with the same person like Mr. Ron or Miss Sharon. Make sense?
So, because and that's why I've always found it odd when people say, when I hear parents say, do as I say, not as I do.
Mm-hmm.
But
The dumbest line. My mom used to say that to me all the time. That is the dumbest thing you could say to a child. Do as I say, not as I do. So I'm supposed to look at you and lie to myself. And this is where confusion comes in for children, because you're telling me, do as you say. So I'm a dog now. You're commanding me to do something. But yet when I go to act it out again as a human interaction, I'm wrong. But you're teaching me. And what you're teaching me by telling me that line is it's okay to lie, basically. It's okay to lie and to lie to yourself. Because if you're telling me, do as I say, you're watching me steal every day. You watch me go in the store every day and boost food. It's not because I can't afford it. It's because I like the thrill of boosting. But yet you're going to tell me, don't grow up and do this. That is such an oxymoron. You're showing me every day you're going into the store that it's easy to boost, but yet you're telling me this same bad behavior you don't want me to do. What are you exactly teaching me? You're teaching me to be confused at this point.
oh, I agree. I absolutely agree. What did you say? Lying to myself or lying against myself?
Yeah, like, my favorite line, by all means, lie to me, just don't lie to yourself. You're lying to a child. You're basically teaching a child how to lie. And you don't even realize the implications of lying, how that works. Because again, I'm watching you do this wrong act every day of the week, but yet you're telling me don't grow up and do it. So what exactly am I supposed to do, mom? Are you going to tell me at 20 what to do since I'm not supposed to do what you're doing? The example that you're setting for me is not the best, but you're telling me don't do it. So are you going to be around at 20 to tell me what to do since I'm supposed to do what you tell me and not what I do?
Hmm. Hmm. I think I have the comment. So to uncover mother wounds, what are some things people do to cover them?
Pretending. Acting like you have the best relationship in public when you're retiring in the household and you come out dressed to the nines and acting like you're Mary Poppins on the outside. There's a lot of false narratives and masks that are worn. You have mothers that are absolute heart, just let's use hoarder, for example. This person comes to work every day dressed to the nines. You would never think their house is filled from ceiling to from floor to ceiling with debris. But yet every day I come out, every day I'm acting like my world is so perfect. When you see someone that's constantly trying to make it seem like their world is so perfect, you got to ask yourself, what are they hiding? Because nobody's life is perfect. I have the most imperfect, perfect life ever, and I want to keep it that way. Um, I don't strive for perfection because it does not exist. And if you keep looking for perfection in something, you're going to find yourself on a very unhappy life because you're constantly going to be looking for something that you can't miss or you can't measure. So when you look at people that wear fake masks, when you have people that act like their life is so perfect, when you have people that are quick to tell you what you need to do but can't take their own advice, when you have someone that can't look in the mirror but can judge you for everything, all of those play a part.
Okay, okay, understood. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Okay.
So just some of the other comments, just again, a lot of likes here. What you're saying is so true. You have to do what you have to do in order to heal. Um, but yeah, just a lot of just a whole lot of agreement and people resonating with what you're saying. Um, so do you want to just reintroduce yourself again for the people who are just watching, who are just
Yes.
tuning in?
Everyone, my name is Seychelles from I Am Seychelles, aka Reiki S. You're right, Reiki master, teacher, and practitioner, holistic practitioner, and soon to be yogini.
I didn't know that part. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And what services do you provide for people in addition to the upcoming class, and where are you located?
Okay. I am located in Brooklyn. I do have a dedicated space I am able to use. So I am now accepting in-person sessions. Before I used to just be virtual. But my website is www.i-am- my first name Seychelles, Seychelles. You can find me on Instagram at IM_Seychelles. You can find me on TikTok at Reiki 2_S. I offer tarot oracle readings, of course, Reiki sessions, Reiki group healings. I am now offering personalized yoga instruction to help you to deregulate the central nervous system. That has been a theme for me with this yoga clinic that I'm currently doing for my certification. I offer Akashic readings. I offer sound healing, crystal Reiki, holistic health consultations. I do have a doctorate in naturopathy, and I'm currently in the process of getting my doctorate in homeopathy. So I like to call myself the all-around healer, meaning I heal the whole person. I look at your quote unquote, what you learn in yogi pies, your physical, your intellectual, your emotional, your spiritual. Um, and in holistic health, that's healing the whole person. Where Western medicine heals a symptom, uh, you basically are diagnosed with something, they heal symptoms. In holistic medicine, we heal the whole person. People don't realize a lot of disease starts from buried emotions. I'm all about getting you to verbalize how you feel, which is something that people today don't realize they can't do. If you have worked with me, and especially if you have gone through one of my intensive classes when it comes to Reiki, when I ask you, how are you feeling physically, emotionally, spiritually? I hate one word answers. I'm fine. I'm good. No, that doesn't tell me anything. That just tells me you're still masking and you don't know how to verbalize how you feel. I want females to get back into the art of verbalizing how they feel. Let me explain something to you. I don't know how many of you here watch Married to Medicine. In this past episode on Sunday, Dr. Jackie got into it with a new cast member. I aspire to be Dr. Jackie and how graceful she was in checking someone. I am tired of females not being able to verbalize to one another their emotions. It's always yelling, screaming, over talking. No one knows how to have a conversation anymore. No one even knows how to converse anymore. A conversation takes two people. And we should be able to have an open dialogue, and we should be able to freely express ourselves without insulting someone, but still getting our clear message across. That is an art. And when I tell you Dr. Jackie has mastered that art, I aspire at her age to be that person, because we sometimes get so passionate on how we feel and what we're going through that our message gets lost in delivery. But again, if we learn how to verbalize our emotions and we learn how to put particular names to our emotions, we would be able to better have a conversation on how we're feeling. And a lot of that deals with, again, your sacral and your throat chakra, which works synchronous, works harmoniously within one another. Chakras work harmoniously with each other outside of the crown chakra. Root works in conjunction with heart, sacral with throat, solar plexus with third eye. So when you look at how you're able to express yourself or the lack of, you also have to look at how was your creativity as a child. When your creativity is suppressed, you suppress a child's voice, because a child who does not know how to express themselves creatively. They express it through pictures and color. So outside of picture and color, when we become older and we learn how to articulate ourselves, we learn that through our throat chakra. But if that throat chakra is shut down, then guess what? Creatively, you're probably a left brain person, and you struggle with creativity, and especially when you're not able to verbalize how you feel, or when you're not a creative person, you don't know how to express it and verbalize that creative side of you. So again, you see how those two chakras work hand in hand, and how it works in conjunction with your lower meridian chakras, which is your foundation, cultivating into your upper meridian chakras, which is throat, third eye, crown, which is cultivated in your adult years. But if your foundation was faulty, what do you think your adult years is going to be? Faulty.
I just wanted to say, okay, someone's saying definitely, in that yes, perfection does not exist, and that you are just dropping some major gems tonight with like a
Thank
fire
you.
emoji. And then someone says they have been following you for a while, and then just simply, mm-hmm. So
I'm glad you guys are enjoying this, and I hope this is hitting home for a lot of females. Reason being, I want us to go, especially with this being an 8-year, the year of the dragon. This is all the year about manifesting the life that you want. But in order to get to that manifestation, you have to clear the blockages in your life to see those manifestations. Just like when you're going to get your driver's license, you have to learn how to drive, you have to take a test, you have to pass your permit test, you have to pass your driving test. Same thing with uncovering mother wounds. Same thing with manifestation. You cannot manifest from a blocked life. And until you start uncovering certain patterns within your life, you won't understand why your manifestations are not coming through. So in order for those manifestations to really come through full-fledged, you have to deal with everything in that dark part that you don't want to go into. That proverbial closet that's probably full, and your vessel, which is your body, is overloaded. That lower back pain, those hips, those knees, The reason why you're feeling those pains is because there's things that need to be released and the body is tired of holding it. So when you look at certain diseases, when you look at certain things that transpire in one's life, it didn't just start yesterday. A person that's diagnosed with stage 4 cancer wasn't, they're diagnosed as stage 4, but imagine how many years they held on to emotions that literally ate them alive as to why the body is like, all right, I give up. You didn't want to help. You didn't want to work. You didn't want to do the work. All right. So guess what? Let me just go ahead and end this for all of us. And I'm not laughing at stage 4 cancer patients, but I need you to understand how disease works and how holistically we look at disease. Every disease starts from an emotion, from a latent emotion that was either unexpressed or just buried.
So what if a person has lower back pain?
Lower back pain is indicative of a root chakra blockage or closure. Anything from your lower back down into your feet is all root chakra. That is, again, your legs are your foundation. Your feet are your foundation. Anything dealing with the root chakra, which is your foundation, you're going to feel that all in your hips, your legs, your thighs, your feet, your toes.
And high blood pressure?
High blood pressure, I got one better for you. Let me get my handy dandy encyclopedia. And I'm for those that suffer from high blood pressure, because I'm pretty sure someone said ask that question. Tell me if this resonates. One second, let me just get to it.
And if I might take a minute just to let people know that at this Saturday's event in the Bronx, you can actually come and see Miss Seychelles in the Bronx this Saturday at Southern Boulevard and 174th Street from 9 to 3 p.m. at the Wealth and Wholeness event. So stop by her table, have a conversation with her. She'll be offering some Reiki and just be in the wonderful vibes that she has.
Yes. So listen, blood circulation is linked to the heart and to blood, a symbol of life. Blood passes through all the channels of the body, arteries, arterioles, veins, venules, and capillaries. These channels are essential for distributing love, joy, and life throughout the whole body. My heart, center of love, accepts to give blood, energy to each part of my being, whatever its importance, without any discrimination. My blood represents my vigor, my pleasure in living, and what I currently am in this universe. All my circulatory difficulties are related to blood and to the totality of my being. If I experience an emotionally or mentally difficult situation, the energy that animates my being weakens. This weakens in my blood, and my blood circulation means that I'm emotionally retreating from a situation that currently affects me because I don't have enough energy to go ahead. I am protecting myself from my overly energetic emotions because it is painful to feel them so present. I am not letting enough love circulate in my life. I criticize myself severely. I'm distressed. I am feeling great inner sadness. My joy in living and my good mood are declining. My ideas are becoming confused. My social life is unexciting, dismal, and dull. I am closing myself off from life. I need to make lots of projects, ideas, and sensations circulate. Again, and I'm going to harp on that one sentence. Most people that suffer from high blood pressure always have to find themselves being busy. They always have to be doing something to feel like they're being productive because, again, an emotion they're running from. So rather than face the emotion, they rather put that into something to where they can say they're being productive. They're putting their quote unquote energy into something productive, yet still denying the emotion, but they're utilizing whatever they're putting that energy into. They feel like it's replacing what they're avoiding.
So being overly busy as a distraction.
Correcto mundo.
Yes, so someone said, okay, people are tagging other people, and someone says they are in tears because what you said resonates with the back pain.
Listen, um, this Saturday, I am going to be offering Reiki sessions because Reiki is such uh, intimate, um, an intimate modality. Even though I'm offering them there, you're going to have the option to either pick in person or virtual. I'm not going to be performing Reiki there. And the reason being, again, Reiki is very intimate, and I'm going to tell you why. The noise is going to take away from a person being able to actually go into the deep meditation. Two, sometimes Reiki makes a person so emotional. I don't want someone in a public place having those emotions. I've literally gone through sessions with first timers, literally placed my hands and they bust out into tears. I would never want someone in a public place. Reiki needs to have a safe environment, a safe and welcoming environment so that you can express yourself the way you need to. And at an event like Saturday, it is a great place for me to describe Reiki to you, to give you some pros and cons, to let you know what to expect. But the experience itself, for me, has to be intimate. So that is either virtually within the comfort of your own home or at the Bronx HQ headquarters, where I'll be actually doing in-person Reiki sessions.
We're going to see if we can set up a private area
Okay, if you can get
because
me
I was going to
a
sign
private,
up for some.
if you can find a private area like a classroom that's empty, no one can come in or out during the sessions, I'm more than happy to do them. But again, I take Reiki and its healing so serious. I want you to have a safe space to let loose. And I tell everyone, when you're picking your Reiki practitioner, it's just like picking your OBGYN or your primary care. You don't want everybody looking down there at your cookie, right? You want to be comfortable with who's looking at your cookie. You want to be able to say, all right, doc, what's going on this year? You don't, especially when you're dealing with a first time OBGYN, we all reserve like, do I like their energy? Does she smell? Does he smell? Like, do I like the touch? Like, I look at all of that. So it's the same thing, because depending on the type of gift that Reiki practitioner has, I tell everyone, you ain't got to tell me nothing because I'm going to see it all. I'm probably going to tell you, and you're probably going to look at me like I got two heads. Like, well, how the hell you know that? Only me and God know that. So again, it's about giving you that experience so you look forward to the next session. Not, oh my God, I don't want to do this. This just scared me.
That's how I found out I was having a baby. But someone says, how can one set up a virtual tour? They live on the West Coast.
A virtual session?
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to drop the link right into the chat, and then you can put it. You can go right to my website, look at my availability, and when you're pick Brooklyn. Brooklyn will tell me that it's virtual. Bronx will tell me it's in-house.
Okay, let me bring up the chat so I can actually put it.
You know what?
Um,
I'm going to your Instagram and I'm going to drop it in the live as well.
okay, so I'm putting it here in the Facebook.
All right, you could just pin it on Instagram.
Okay, all right, okay, I just put it in the Facebook chat. Okay, and I see it on the Instagram. Okay, thank you. Okay, do you have any final words on uncovering mother wounds, on addressing mother-daughter trauma?
So, I am actually going to be activating this course. Matter of fact, let me see. Did I activate the course already? I don't remember if I opened it up on the website yet. Nope, services. So The course is on there. I am actually going to give anyone that is present in this class tonight, I am actually going to give you a discount code. The energy exchange for the 4 weeks is 125.25. In light of this being an 8-year, I'm giving a discount for anyone tonight. I just need at matter of fact, let me write it down now. You can get this course for $88.88 with code word Abena. ABNA. That is going to be the coupon code to get this course for $88.88. This link, this coupon, what happened?
I've never been a coupon code before.
Listen, you should feel honored. I want your name to ring because and if no one has given you your flowers, I've known you now going on what, 2-3 years? And what you do for the community is very important. It's not many people that know how to bring community together, and you constantly do it in a way that makes people want to show up. You've given me a voice on your platform one too many times, and I will always be grateful for that. So in light of your clan, let them reap the benefits from you. Guys, I am literally creating the coupon while I'm on here. So if you want to go on and book, you will be able to. And ABNA next. And this is gonna go on to a specific service. All right, guys.
And I just want to say the class again. Can you, for the people who are now tuning in, can you say like when the classes are available? What's the schedule for the classes?
So the classes are starting on March 9th, which is a Saturday, and there's going to be 2 time slots. There will only be 15 participants per class because I want to keep it small, intimate, and make sure that I'm able to facilitate what needs to be facilitated within that class. And with larger classes, they never normally work well. So this is why I'm limiting the morning and the evening class. You'll have 2 class sessions, a 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. every Saturday, or 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday. This is a 4-week commitment. There will be no makeup classes. So literally, if you have to miss a class, I would recommend getting with one of the other young ladies in the class or reaching out to me to get the homework, because there will be work every week. Again, guys, I'm just giving you the tools. I'm just pushing you in the area that you need to go. But the work is going to really ultimately depend on you. I am just a facilitator here to help get you over that hump of addressing certain things. In every healing, everyone doesn't everyone gets to a certain point in their healing journey and they come to like an impasse. It's like they're not making any progress. Sometimes you need that extra shove over because there is just things that it's just too hard for us to bear on our own. We've bared it for so long on our own and we've shut down. Let me be that shoulder and that crutch for you to get over that hump, and that's part of what this class is going to help you do.
Okay, and that's going to be March 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th.
Yes.
Okay. And 8, what were the hours again?
The first class is going to be 10 to 12, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, and then 8 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay, and I'm looking at my schedule. Okay. Okay,
I'm
all right.
also putting in the Zoom. Don't worry about that second link. It's the same link. So you literally will just go down to services and click on the uncovering mother wounds class. And literally when you go to checkout, you put in the code, you'll get the discount off, and the course should come to $88.88, and it is virtual.
Okay. Okay. I know I speak for everyone when I say this has been awesome. And like if this is just a sample of the class, and the class itself must be utterly like mind blowing. Um, I'm just trying to see if I have any final comments here, because some people have been joining, and they're just loving what you're what you're sharing. For some reason, I can't seem to see all the new comments. Much appreciation. Someone said they really appreciate this, and they'll be reaching out. One love. Okay.
I appreciate you, and I look forward to meeting you.
Okay. Absolutely. Okay. So I just want to say thank you. Yes, I think this is maybe like the third time on the Zoom, and like at any time, at any time, you always like blow everyone away when when you speak. So I am truly, truly grateful. And again, this Saturday, Miss Seychelles will be in the Bronx, showing the Bronx some love at the Wealth and Wholeness event at 1716 Southern Boulevard at 174th Street. You can see it on my Instagram, and it's the cover on my Facebook page as well. So I definitely want to thank you. Thank you for sharing. I truly appreciate it. What was the encyclopedia that you were looking at?
It's called the Encyclopedia of Ailments and Diseases. This lists just about every disease in the world, and the emotion that it stemmed from. Like, I'm happy to go through a few. Like, does somebody want to throw out an ailment or a disease, and I can tell you the emotion that it started from?
Okay. Do you have anything for what's that? No, the what's that? Sciatica?
Sciatica.
Hmm?
The sciatic nerve starts in the lumbar part, lower back of the spine. It goes through the buttock, the thigh, the leg, and extends down to the foot. The pain I feel paralyzes me. The pain may act more intensely in one leg than in the other. I may be financially worried at that time because I'm going through an important transition in my life that makes me experience great insecurity. If my right leg is involved, it may be because I'm afraid of lacking funds and being unable to face my responsibility in what lies ahead for me. I may also feel I am losing support, especially if this follows a betrayal. I feel compelled to go in one direction, even if I don't feel like it. If the pain is located in my left leg, my lack of money may intensify my feeling of being unable to give everything to fill the material needs of the people I love. So there are some things that I want to do but cannot. I fear that their love for me will be affected by this. I delude myself believing that I'm very spiritually motivated and detached from worldly goods, a sort of hypocrisy. However, the fear of being short of money pursues me and makes me very anxious. I work very hard, carry great responsibilities, and despite all my efforts, I still have some financial problems. My body stiffens. I feel stuck. It is though I were gripped by the throat, helpless in a situation, with the impression that somebody else has power over this situation and not I. I feel confined in my freedom and my creativity. I constantly call myself into question. What am I not doing? Do I have the necessary knowledge and talent for facing a new situation? My insecurity leads me to revolt and to resent life. I come to develop a feeling of inferiority. I may refuse to give in to a person or a situation. Insidiously, aggressiveness sets in, and my communication with others suffer from it. Anger boils up inside of me. I feel like stopping everything. I had better calm my nerves because right now I have the impression that my nerves are all in knots. I become aware of my inner confusion and pain, internal as well as external, about the directions of my life in the here and now. This pain often results from my stubbornness in wanting to hold on to my old ideas instead of opening myself up to change and new perspectives. I am concerned with the welfare and happiness of the people around me, but to the detriment of my own happiness. This situation is frequent in pregnant women who experience inner confusion and pain concerning that direction their lives are now taking. And so doubts, fears, and worries may surface. Do I feel supported enough in the new responsibilities I will now be taking on? How can I decide who or what I should want to get closer to, or on the contrary, get away from, as either option could bring many changes into my life? How's that sound so far?
Yeah, that kind of resembles me. Yeah, about 2 years ago, like this very debilitating, like sciatic pain. So yeah, yeah, okay.
Really quick, guys, I just got a new shipment of crystals in. And I know a lot of the discussion tonight, we talked about our throat chakra. I definitely urge you. I have a lot of beautiful throat chakra crystals in stock that I would love to see those of you who are not ready to take this class, but who are ready to find their voice, to go ahead and start working with the power of crystals. I am very big on crystals. Part of what sets me apart from most Reiki practitioners, I incorporate crystals into every practice. I am known as a crystal Reiki healer. I like to use the metaphysical properties of crystals as well as utilizing the Hayashi healing guide, which lets me know wherever you have a blockage. It also lets me know what organs are being affected. You don't realize each chakra surrounds a major organ. So for those of you, especially that experience a lot of rage and anger, we have to look at what's going on with the liver and where is the liver situated within the body and which chakra is it affecting. All of this is what you get within a Reiki session with me. I'm not one of those Reiki practitioners that say, okay, I healed you, I open this up and I send you on your way. 9 times out of 10, you always get homework. I always send you off with a meditation. Whether you decide to come back to me or not, um, you have a game plan to carry on with, which a lot of Reiki practitioners don't do. They just hope that you come back. If you do, you do. You don't, you don't. Again, I am just a facilitator. I just give you the tools, and it's up to you to utilize them and do the work.
Okay, understood, understood. Um, okay, I want to extend my most profound gratitude for you coming on and oh, so how do we purchase the crystals?
Right in my website, go to the metaphysical store. Crystals, candles, cord cutting has been a theme. If you have some cords you need to cut, I have the most beautiful candles that I'm actually stocking from a young lady out of North Carolina, where she's actually hand making all of these candles, and they are nothing. You will never find these candles in a botanica at all. A lot of them are loadable. So I definitely urge you guys, go through the metaphysical store on the website, look at all what I have to offer. I'm actually uploading the last set of crystals that I got in yesterday. I've already cleansed them, blessed them. I have not charged them yet, but that will be tonight. But again, go through the metaphysical store. The theme for 2024: cancel, clear, delete. Get rid of anything or anyone that is no longer serving your highest purpose. Also, you will be getting, again, with this being an 8 year, you want to look at what relationships are worth holding on to and what isn't, because especially because this is the year of Saturn. We didn't see anything in 2023 with the amount of bodies that dropped. Karma is whatever karma didn't pick up last year. Trust and believe she is doing a final sweep this year. So a message that spirit is giving me right now, this very second, is this: what you will not remove will be violently removed. And trust me, you never want spirit to take something or someone out of your life, because when your spirit team is protecting you, they don't care about the other folk. They just care about you. So if there's relationships, friendships, family members, you know, you need to get the hell away from, get away from them, because the way you're going to be removed, you're not going to like it, even though it's going to be for your highest good. But it's not going to be pleasant. So make it a pleasant interaction by doing the work now and getting out of your own way. Manifestation, this is a manifesting year. If you don't utilize any other year, an 8 year is where you see the money, but you have to remove any energetic blocks that you may have in order to see those manifestations. So again, I have all the tools that you need right in the metaphysical store, and what I don't have in the metaphysical store, I have personally within me that I'm willing to share with you.
Um, Cord cutting, that would be another topic.
Yes, we
Um,
definitely have to. I definitely would like to come back on and let's talk about cord cutting, because there's a lot of cord cutting that needs to happen. Old sexual energies, old friendships, old partners. There's people think cord cutting is just for relationships. No, when you want to get someone about your energy, a cord cutting is definitely the go-to. Send them and their energy back to the depths of hell where they came from.
so someone said thank you. They're going to check out the website, and oh my goodness, she's speaking about removing folks. This is confirmation.
Go ahead in there, girl. Get your cord cutting kit. And mind you, I have 3 different cord cutting kits. I have loadable containers where you can actually load the candle with your petition, any crystals, any amulets, anything that you want to put into it and burn it that way. I have the phallus and the vagina, and I have the man and the woman. So again, just depending on what you want to cut up out of your life, I have something for every season. And you got to get into the Benjamin money manifestation candle. I love it. Let me see. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it on the camera. I'm going to try to open one and show you. But it's all about the Benjamins, baby. All about the Benjamins. Actually, duh. Abena, can I share my screen?
Okay.
And then I could just go right to the website for you guys and show you really quick.
So I have to make you host. Okay, how do I do that again? 'Cause oh, okay. Okay. Yes, you're the host now. Okay, you're the host. So
I am.
you,
I'm sorry, my
yeah.
computer's moving slow.
hmm
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you're the host.
Yeah, you got to give me a second because my computer's just moving slow. And my laptop is about to die.
hmm
Let me get to a charger first and foremost. The bing. All right, battery is in. Share screen. All right, guys. This is the website. As you can see here, I'm on a laptop, so it definitely looks different if you're on a phone. But if you click right here to the metaphysical shop,
Okay.
I don't know if it's because I'm on Zoom why it's doing this, but this is supposed to go up. Why is it not going up? But as you can see, we have some desert rose selenite and some peach selenite, tumbled zebra jasper, some howlite. But when it comes to, there it goes, the crystals, for all my goddesses, I have 2 Egyptian ankhs left. Let me explain something to you about this candle right here. I burnt this the full moon and I dedicated it to Ra and Horus, and literally, called on them for some work, things of that nature. Y'all, since I burnt this candle and the blockages that I asked to be removed, when I say it's like a stick of dynamite was placed, it just went kaboom, and things have been opening up for me like crazy. This candle is heavy in nature and it burns beautifully. When it comes to the manifestation, you know me, money, money, money.
Mhm.
This money manifestation candle is all that you need. It's already dusted in gold powder to give you an enhancement when it comes to manifesting. So basically just inscribing your intention, lighting it, and just letting it do what it do. We also have the genie lamp, which is, oh God, why is this moving so slow? The One Wish Genie lamp. This is the loadable candle that I was telling you guys about. As you can see here, we have this in money green, lime green, and yellow. And this is what it looks like, the loadable candles. You literally can place everything in here. I recommend either burning your petition and putting the ashes in here, or folding it up really small and lining it around the cavity and then adding whatever else you want to it. But again, and just to show you guys really quick, the cord cutting series that I have. This one I cannot keep on the shelf. This one is like flying off the shelf like crazy. Like I said, we have the man and woman, and each kit comes with this scissor candle. And as you can see, this lazy thing is working my nerves. As you can see, the wick is already joined for you. So it's not like the old school way of cord cutting where you would get a piece of string tied to the two candles and light it. This one already comes joined. The scissor candle is to help light it, to start the intention and for it to do what it do. This is the penis and the phallus. This is when you want to remove any sexual energy. Say if you might have unknowingly slept with a succubus or incubus energy, this is the perfect candle to break that. And this one is for any type of cord cutting, whether it's cutting relationships, cutting from a job, anything. These are the loadable ones. You basically allocate which candle you want to be for you, whether the red or the black. You fill it with your petition. Again, each one comes with the candle, the scissor candle. You light it, set your intention, and let it do its job. But there's a lot in the metaphysical store for you guys. I say go through, peruse, see what you like, and as long as you spend $35, you get free shipping.
Okay.
I'm trying to get back. I can make you back host. Why won't it? Oh, stop share. Duh. Stop sharing. Make you back host.
Mhm.
All right, you're
Um,
back host.
really? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Um,
Um, okay, so thank you again for this very, very thorough discussion. It was much appreciated. Um, Thank you for opening the doors to future discussion on cord cutting as well. Um, so definitely everyone who's watching again, you can see Seychelles in the Bronx this Saturday at the Wealth and Wholeness event. You can see her on, you're back on Facebook. I think I tagged you here on Facebook and on Instagram as well. So I want to thank you for being here. You've definitely impacted some people. And yes, we're definitely discussing how to set up something private for Saturday.
Okay. And guys, again, if you're not following me, make sure you follow me on Instagram at I am_Seychelles. I am S for short, or on TikTok at Reiki__S. This month, I'm like racing against time. I'm also, if you have not signed up for my newsletter, I do urge you to go on there and sign up because I am holding a retreat, an ayahuasca retreat this summer to Costa Rica. It originally was supposed to happen in March, but when I opened it up the end of last year, everyone that said they wanted to participate, when it came time to put the deposits, everyone flaked. And I had only offered it to a small group of people. Spirit told me, stop playing small. We're going to open this up. So I'm looking for 10 ladies that's looking for a life-changing event to do an ayahuasca retreat in Costa Rica. Comes your price includes the villa, a private chef that's going to prepare 3 square meals plus snacks a day, transportation to and from the retreat center, and to have massages and a mani and pedi to end it off with. I will actually be sending out something in regards to that retreat in the next 2 to 3 weeks, with deposits being put down within the next couple of weeks. So if this is something that you're interested in, again, make sure you sign up for the newsletter so you can get the information on that. And plus, you'll get monthly newsletters from me with self-care tips, different things that we have going on. You guys get first dibs on classes, things of that nature. Again, don't forget, if you are signing up for the Uncovering Mother Wounds class, to use the code of ABENA, ABENA, and that's going to bring your course from 125.25 down to 88.88. And guys, if you have any more questions, always feel free to jump into my DM. If you're on the website and you have a question, there's a chat feature in the lower right-hand corner. Chat with me. It comes right to my phone and I answer almost instantaneously. So if there are no other questions, I am going to let you guys go because my daughter's starving and she's like, what are we eating? Steak taco is over, so I'm going to order Chipotle.
Understood. So thank you so very much. And I so look forward to seeing you on Saturday, and I want to schedule a session for sure.
All right. Also, you got to give me info. What time are we setting up? DM me everything.
Okay, okay, yeah, I gotta do that with everybody tonight.
And Instagram, before you go to post to Instagram, invite me as a collaborator so that way it'll come on my page as well.
I just did for the flyer, and when the Instagram live is done, I'll add you collaborator also.
Okay,
Okay,
awesome. Guys,
okay.
thank you so much for having me. Again, Abner, I truly appreciate you. I am very grateful for you for always giving me a platform to express myself. And I will see you.
Okay, thank you everyone for tuning in to this week's Transformation Thursday. This was week 169 with Miss Seychelles, and our topic was uncovering mother wounds. And so tune in next Thursday, 7:15, 7:27. You know, just keep watching. Eventually, technical difficulties, whatever, I'll be on eventually. And in closing, I'd like to remind everyone, if you haven't heard this already, remember that you are a spark of the divine. Okay, thank you. Okay, good night, everyone.
Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye.